Welcome back to another episode of the Wedding Photo Hangover podcast, the finest phototainment in the world. We are an irreverent look at photography. This podcast, like aspirin, will help you recover from your wedding hangover. And this week, we're going to be a little bit more helpful because one, Dustbin isn't here. And two, it's just me, international style boy Steve, with international celebrity Josh Withers.
Hey.
Josh, how are you doing?
Mate, I'm so good. I am living on Australia's Gold Coast, which is fairly COVID-free, and it's sunny, and it's winter, but our winter is like a really good winter. Like I'm wearing a shirt kind of winter, so I'm really good. And also, just to add on top of that, I went to the gym at 5 a.m. this morning, so already I'm kicking your ass on the Apple Activity app. Yeah, just already whipping your ass.
Yeah. I mean, I guess I did post about that to my public Facebook. So I challenged Josh and Morgan and Ulysses, all from the Wedding Hangover group, to individual challenges with the Apple Watch activity thing. I'm really bad at talking about Apple today. It's
Fapple. We pronounce it Fapple.
Yeah. So challenged all of them. And like the day after I challenged them, I looked down at like the activity thing, and Morgan's done like 1,800 move calories. Josh has done 1,100, and Ulysses is already at 700. And it's California. It's like 5 a.m. where he is. And I'm looking at mine and I'm like, I'm at 26 move calories today. Oh my gosh, I'm going to get destroyed by these guys. What was I thinking? Oh gosh. Yeah. The next 7 days, I'm going to be a real fitness boy. On top of being a real style boy.
Well, to be stylish, you've also got to be fit, Steve, because you might be a hot mask model one day, but you've got to keep that up, man. You've got a reputation to bring to the world stage now. Like people are going to see you in the street and be like, "Oh my God, that's Mask Boy. He's really put on weight since that article last week."
He could really use a haircut. What's he doing?
Celebrities look so different in the wild. We'll see you on people.com. It's going to be great.
So, how are things going in Australia? What's life like? It looks like you're sitting in front of a kitchen, but it doesn't look like where you were recording last time Dustin and I had you on the show, which was almost a year ago at this time. Also, just a little like wedding photo hangover thing here that nobody else knows other than me, because I'm the only one who kept a record of it. This is the 3-year anniversary of when Dustin and I recorded the very first episode of Wedding Photo Hangover.
Wow, I'm so glad that Dustin couldn't join us for that. That's nice.
Like I said, he has no memory of it. All anybody knows is that on August 17th, I released the first episode.
Oh, this is special. Look, how's Australia? Hasn't life changed since we podcasted last? Like, God, hasn't life changed? I feel like last time I talked to you, I was living in a home that isn't this one. That other one was our home, and life was good, and we were planning for an awesome 2020 where we were going to travel the world, like literally traveling the world. I had plans to be everywhere from Iceland through America, through Europe, New Zealand, Indonesia, all around Australia. And so we actually rented out our house. So that house we were in, someone else is renting from us at the moment. And about a week after we rented the house out, what we now know as the coronavirus and COVID-19 disease, that was classified as a pandemic. And eventually Australia closed its borders. So I know every country deals with COVID differently. Like, for example, in Australia, we dealt with it. In America, you haven't. So just slight different, like real subtle differences. Like it's all the nuance.
I'm gonna let that one. I'm gonna let that one slide because it's true.
It's true. So we like Australia literally closed its borders. At first, it was like no one from China. Then secondly, it was like a few other countries. Then like a few days later, it was like, oh, actually, no one's coming in. And then on top of that, well, and also no one's going out. So they literally just closed the borders. You could still kind of come in a little bit, like if you had a permit but they went from like multiple thousands of people a day to like nothing. Like I think literally it's like, I think 30 or 50 people a day are allowed into the country, and they still have to be permit holders. And so went from that to also the state that I'm in. I'm in Queensland, which is, if you look in the map of Australia, it's like the far right top kind of state. And we closed our border to the rest of the nation. And so in Queensland, without looking at the stats, I think maybe 1 to 10,000 people got corona. I don't know. Maybe I feel like under 1,000, like not many. And maybe 10 or so people died. I feel like I should actually look at stats. I don't know. But currently, from what I understand, there's no one in my state that has COVID-19. And
what's that like? Wow.
Well, like it's, because the thing is, it's fine because we can just walk the streets and we've still got to be social distancing and that kind of thing. But there's not a panic like there is in, for example, the state of Victoria. The capital city, Melbourne, is having a pretty massive outbreak there. Every day there's like 300 to 400 people, new cases every day, and they've locked down the city like on a lockdown style, and they're like, no one leave the house, everyone stop going out and touching, kissing, and cuddling people, and everyone just calm down. So Victoria is kind of out of whack, but the most of Australia is pretty fine. Obviously, we don't know what the future looks like because we can't leave the country and we can't kind of do all the, like, things are normal, but when there's not a hyperactive state of shock or, fear or anything like that.
I keep looking at my phone every time it buzzes, afraid that it's going to be Dustin saying, "What the hell's going on?" Oh man, I'm glad that you guys are living in less fear than what we're living in over here right now. It's scary here. There's a lot more people, and there's a lot more people here who are like, it's not even real, so I don't need to take any precautions. And wow, just wow, it's a trip over here in America.
Can I tell you though that the whole "it's not real" thing, like I have a little bit of sympathy for that, just because I think it's a human response to the situation, and that I and my family and my friends, like my group of humans, like I personally don't know anyone that has contracted COVID-19, has had the coronavirus. There might be, I'm sure there's someone that has asymptomatic, like they just haven't shown symptoms. But generally speaking, like no one I know has been directly affected by it. The whole country is obviously indirectly affected by it because all of us are not traveling, all of us are like working from home, all that kind of thing. And so I could imagine a world, and look, I'll speak specifically to my world, like our company we're probably out, look, I'm just kind of running the numbers in my head, we're probably out $70,000 to $80,000 like loss. And to be so affected in the business and kind of lifestyle side, but not to be affected by the sickness, like it hasn't made me sick. I could imagine another person reacting to that saying, "Oh, this is all BS. This is all made up." And, it's a government. And because also, like, it's important to remember, particularly for Americans, like we've been lied to before. So I don't know. I have sympathy for people.
In Australia, you guys have been lied to, or?
Oh no, our government's actually perfect. No, I'm talking about directly your government.
Our government has never lied to us. I don't know what you're talking about.
No, specifically every other government on the planet is corrupt. Mine is actually perfect. They're actually we elected unicorns, which is you don't see that much in the news, and also because when they're on video, you don't see the horns or the rainbows and the butterflies. But yeah, we elected unicorns, which is pretty cool for a government. But like governments have done wrong by people before, and like corporations have, everyone, like, stuff has gone around. So I understand how you can think like that. You're also wrong.
But I mean, it is a natural response, though, denial, like when something terrible happens. And I know, like, when it first started, I was like, that's terrible. It's not going to make it to America. It's a problem in China right now, And then all of a sudden it was like, no, it's here. It's everywhere. And it was like, oh crap. Like, I feel like there were probably a lot of politicians and corporations and other people who had that same kind of like living in denial. Like, I don't think it's going to leave, Wuhan or whatever, but and that's biting us all in the ass now.
Yeah. Well, like, I'm sure you saw my Facebook post, like around March, April, May, and well, not May, but definitely through March. I'm like, guys, like, because I'm talking on my Facebook, I'm talking to my couples that we've got booked all around the world. and just very general, kind of like everyone take a breath. Like, yes, we're going to be in lockdown today, but by May, April, like we'll be fine. Like we're still going to go ahead with the elopements, and Iceland in June. Like it's going to happen. It's everyone calm down, stop canceling, stop freaking out. And like I was really wrong. Like how wrong was I? Embarrassingly wrong. So that,
I mean, it does kind of
humbling.
screw with your plans to the Married by Josh World Tour that you're going to go on,
Yeah.
much like Trolls World Tour, where you're going to take the microphones from all the other celebrants all over the world and completely and totally unite them and dominate them into a Josh Withers type celebrant situation
Hey, that
where
was
everybody
that was a
just.
secret plan. That was other people don't know about that plan.
Did I just
That's
blow the lid on that?
you
I'm
just blew the
sorry.
yeah. No one else knew. But hey, if now that you know, all celebrants and officiants, be prepared to end.
So as you said earlier, you said you guys are losing out on maybe $70,000 to $80,000 because of what's going on right now. That's obviously a huge, huge loss. I'm so sorry. First off, second off, how have you been dealing with? Because I didn't realize this last time we talked, but like you're working with over 100 clients every single year,
Probably closer to
whereas like
200 a
me,
year. Yeah.
yeah, I'm Jen and I are working with close to 30 clients a year, and so you're obviously working at a much larger scale. So when something like this happens, there's a lot more people affected, and you have to be a lot better at communicating with all of them and managing all of that. So how have you been dealing with like the what I can only assume is a deluge of emails from all over the world from people reaching out to you and stuff?
Um, how have I been dealing with it? Probably terribly, to categorize the whole conversation. Uh, like there's we have, but because when you've got that many numbers, like when the numbers of clients are that large, we have every circumstance. So all of the circumstances that we see in the Facebook groups and like the wedding hangover and other Facebook groups, all of those circumstances, we've had all of them and numbers of each type. So at the best end, we have the couple who lovingly acknowledge that the pandemic is not my fault or our company's fault, and we're just going to postpone. In a best case scenario, we're just going to postpone with a question mark next year
Mm-hmm.
sometime, or we'll just figure it out, and with love and kindness and respect and communication and all those lovely things. And then on the other end of it, there's the people who have decided that their current plans or their original plans aren't going to go ahead because pandemic, and the pandemic's my fault. And because of that, whether
Josh
it's because
Withers, God.
God / pandemic creator, which is just, it's a free thing when you book me as a celebrant. I'll create a pandemic personalized for you. That's
Which one did you want? Did you want the Corona one? Did you want the Ebola one? Were you gonna go more old school? Were we looking for the Black Plague?
Yeah, it's so there's those people who and we want our money back, and I'm like, well, contractually, that money isn't available to you because of the decisions you've made. And second of all, are you going to get married anyway? Like, just let's include us in the new plans. And so yeah, we actually got our second court summons yesterday, which is pretty exciting. Like, you always think your first summons is the special one, but the second one is like it's a whole new kind of love,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Oh man, how'd your first summons go?
Well, so the way it works, because it's a civil matter, it's not a criminal matter. It goes to
Mm-hmm.
the Civil Administrative Tribunal, I think it's called, QCAT. And so the first step is a mediation, where the guy gets you both on the phone, because we can't do it in person. It gets you both on the phone and tries to come to some kind of reconciliation. And the first one was I offered a 30% refund and they wanted a 100% refund, and I wasn't going to come any further and they weren't going to come any further. And so the second one is going to be something similar. So it's, we haven't got a date yet. It's depressing, man. It's sad. Like, I feel like I became a celebrant because I really love what I do. I think I do a really good job as a celebrant. I think I bring a lot of value to a wedding. and I think I'm really good at what I do. And it brings me a lot of joy. People enjoy being a part of what I do. I enjoy being a part of it. And I've got none of that right now. Like these, there's a large collection of people that have really sucked the joy out of what I do. And that sucks.
Mm-hmm. Man, that's, I'm so sorry, man.
Yeah.
We don't have to talk about depressing stuff the whole time. Josh, you recently shared like a month or two ago. You've been posting stuff to Unsplash, the website where people can download like photos that you put and use them for free. And you hit like a huge milestone. Do you wanna talk a little bit about that and what Unsplash is?
Yeah.
The bane of professional photographers' existence.
I know. Professional photographers hate when I mention the word Unsplash. If you haven't heard of it, it's I guess the categorization is free stock photography, or free photos. That as a photographer, you would submit photos to their licensing to just be used according to their license, and I know that goes against so many principles in the world of professional photography, but I don't care. I suppose the big milestone I reached, because like I always hit good numbers on Unsplash. Like I'm in top 100, top 1,000 contributors, and I think just trying to look. I think I've been viewed the last 30 days, 2.5 million views. Oh, okay. So in all time, I've had 74 million views, which is kind of cool. Like that's nice. If you want to look me up on
Holy
Unsplash.
crap.
It's nuts, isn't it? Unsplash.com/Josh Withers. Yeah, it's crazy. But the reason I am active on Unsplash is because I am not a photographer, which makes me question why I'm on this podcast. But I'm not a commercial, operational, profitable photographer. And I wanted to try and figure out, like, how do I know what work I do matters to people? Because I didn't want to just start making photos and just tell people, hey, this is a good photo, give me money for it. I wanted to kind of figure out how my interface to the world and my interface to a camera and that camera's interface to the world, how that kind of equation would matter to people.
Mm-hmm.
And I know a lot of people do that on Instagram, but Instagram sucks, man. Like the algorithm is a terrible place to submit your talent and your heart to. Like it sucks. Imagine talking to our grandparents, and we would tell our grandparents like, yeah, I'm going to really put all of my self-worth into the hands of an artificially intelligent algorithm. Like your grandpa would slap you. So Unsplash is less algorithmic. Well, I guess non-algorithmic. There's no feed. People just search for our things, and every day they feature, like they'll just go through everything that's being submitted and they'll feature a bunch of those photos, and those photos go on the front page. And I think there's an email and that kind of thing. And so, yeah, so I guess I'm just submitting myself not to an algorithm of likes and hashtags and blah, blah, but I'm submitting myself to just other people's tastes. And I've started to find a gamut of what people care about. But what it all resulted in is someone actually bought, they wanted a photo on there, but the photo I'd taken, I'd actually taken it with my Mavic Pro, my original Mavic Pro. And it just wasn't like great res. Like the original Mavic Pro wasn't pumping out great photos compared to the Mavic 2 Pro, which is still, it's pretty good, but it's no, what's the big one? The big DJI?
Or the
Inspire.
Fan?
Yeah. So it's no Inspire. But the Mavic 2 Pro still makes a pretty good photo, particularly if you do some stitching. And so they commissioned me to make a photo for their showroom in Sydney, a photo of Sydney Harbour. And so I was driving through Sydney not long after. And so I actually did like a 30-image stitch of Sydney Harbour for them, and made 500 buckaroos, which I know still isn't a lot of money in that kind of, like, it's good money, but it's not little money, but it's not.
Was that your first sale, though?
That's my first
First sale?
Yeah. So
$500 is really good for selling just one photo for your very first photo.
Yeah. So I feel pretty proud.
Yeah. How long did it take you to shoot the 30 photos that you stitched together?
I did 4 kind of stitchings or 4 shoots. I don't know how do you kind of categorize the bundle. 4 bundles of photos, and so I probably
I
spent
mean,
about
I
45
don't fly
minutes.
my drone, so you would be the one who would know about this.
I did 4 shoots, if you like, in the one afternoon. So I spent like an hour down there, just waiting for the sun to kind of be in the right position. And Sydney Harbour, as I'm sure you can imagine, a little bit like, all of the big, great cities of the world, has got fairly strict drone restrictions. So there's a park that I'd flown at once before, and it was just on the edge of being allowed to fly. And it was far enough away from buildings, and there was still people walking, but I could kind of just get away with it. And you're allowed to fly there. And the sunset behind. The sunset? That's the word I'm looking for. The sunset behind the city, and so I was kind of proud of that photo. It was really nice.
I mean, I've seen the photo. It's beautiful. It's like a beautiful golden glow behind the city and everything. It was great.
Thank you. How hard stitching?
Stitching
was a lot of work.
Did you do that in Photoshop or Lightroom or
Lightroom? And I did it on my old laptop, which was actually the impetus for me to buy a new MacBook, because I stitched it and I thought, that's great. And I went, go. And it literally took like 4 hours.
How old was your old MacBook?
It was like a 4 or 5 year old entry level MacBook Pro. Like, I just had nothing in it. So now I've got a MacBook, a 16-inch MacBook Pro, and it's a lot faster.
Do you have the one with the touch bar?
Yeah, I'm going all fancy, baby.
Yeah. Do you like the touch bar?
I do not hate it, but
I know that you listen to a lot of tech podcasts like Daring Fireball, which I'm wearing a shirt from right now. So I know that you're probably in the same realm where you hear a lot of people who
everyone hates
say
it.
very terrible things about it. I love it personally.
I like it. There's one thing that I really hate when I'm using Safari. Because this is a new, like, I've had a 13-inch laptop before now, and I've got the 16-inch, and my hand just sits like my kind of resting hand position. Like, when you're not typing, but your left hand is just kind of sitting there on the keyboard. It just hovers over the back button on the touch bar. So I'll always be going back in web pages without knowing it. It's really frustrating. It kills me, man. And I can't program my hand to move away.
I would say that the problem there is that you're using Safari, but
God.
I'm starting to really hate Chrome because it keeps draining the battery on my MacBook Pro while I'm doing stuff like with it plugged in. And it's just like, how am I losing? How am I losing power on my MacBook Pro when it's plugged in to the power supply, like straight into the wall? And it's because Chrome is such a resource hog. It's so frustrating to me.
That's why I use Safari, man. Safari's it's just a bloody good browser. And may I remind you, as someone who listens to the similar tech podcasts you do, remember our mantra: everyone but Apple hates you. Apple loves you. That's the only thing you have to remember, Steve.
Oh gosh,
Tim Cook prays for you daily.
Like
And God, please just bless Steve and Josh. And he just rattles off all the names of our Apple users, all 20 of us. Tim he just prays for us every day.
Just all 20 of us. I love it.
Nice.
So speaking about your drone photography and everything you've been shooting, and specifically you were talking about Unsplash and how you've been using that as kind of like a gauging whether or not the stuff you're shooting, people like it. What I'm curious about, your drone photography has gotten like exponentially better since the last time I talked to you, like a year ago. Like just looking at all the photos you've been posting, like it just feels like every single time you go out, you get a little bit better. Is it, do you feel like you're mostly shooting stuff that you want to shoot? Or do you feel like because you're on Unsplash and you're getting, 73 million views and stuff like that, do you feel yourself trending more towards what people like? I'm just kind of curious with like that kind of scale of like viewership, like how does that affect you mentally?
Yeah, no, like you think that the reason for me being there would also affect me shooting, but it actually doesn't. So I suppose at some point here, this is just a ego massaging kind of moment. Because I really do just try to go out and shoot today just for me, just to find something I love. And it's funny, I'm looking at my top photos and like out of, say, the top 10, Only one is shot on the Mavic 2 Pro. The rest are all the original Mavic. So the images, like, they're fine, but they're not. Like, if what do you rock, Steve? You got a Mavic original?
I wouldn't even know. It's been so long since I flew it. So
Yeah, so probably the Mavic. Yeah, like if you flew the same drone up, it's just like if you got
Mhm.
say a Sony camera and a Canon camera, the Sony would just outshine it so greatly.
Well, I mean, I would take. I would say that's wrong.
You say that's wrong. Oh,
I
good.
just I want to debate you on that just because I feel like the if I bought a Sony and a Canon right now, the Canon would catch fire, and I don't think we can debate which one's shining brighter. It's definitely the one that's on fire, right?
True. Yeah, that's true. Yeah, but you think that I'd be kind of shooting for Unsplash, but I actually haven't been. Like I went out yesterday for the first time. It's the first time I've flown kind of recreationally in a while, because the whole pandemic has kind of really ruined our vibe for the last couple of months. But I just went out and I just flew for me, and it was actually really, really lovely. Like, I'm lucky I live on the beach, so I love doing surf photography, and I still haven't got like the ultimate surf shot that I want to get, which is like, right up close to a surfer, which is hard to get with a Mavic 2 Pro because
Just maybe cutting him a little bit, getting a little blood on the blades.
Yeah, yeah.
That's what you really want.
Because the lens is so wide. So to get a good shot of a surfer, you got to kiss him. Just kiss him on the cheek.
You got to trade that Mavic Pro 2 in for the Mavic Pro 2 Zoom, right?
Yeah, gosh. But then you lose the sensor. It's a tough battle.
Would the Zoom have helped when you're on the other side of the harbor in Sydney trying to shoot across to stitch all the photos together? Or no?
No, it was a pretty wide shot. So I honestly, if DJI comes out with like a longer lens kind of drone that has a good sensor, I'm gonna drop cash on that because Daddy needs to get closer.
Daddy needs to get closer. Gosh.
I thought I'd try to make that. Was that creepy enough? I tried to make it sound creepy.
It's very creepy. Yeah. Now I'm just thinking about you kissing all the surfers with your drone, and Daddy's coming in for a kiss. Pucker up.
Pucker up, baby.
Oh, don't they have enough to worry about with sharks? I read an article the other day about a shark grabbing a boy off a boat in Australia, and you guys live in a crazy world down there. Your saltwater crocodiles, and
we literally have to factor in animal and wildlife danger when we're planning elopements. So a big part of our business, like I do weddings, like kind of what you might call your traditional big white wedding. But probably 70% of my work, 60 to 70% of my work is elopements. And we do them in weird, wonderful locations around the world. But around Australia, we're always literally we had a conversation about whether the risk of poisonous snakes for that location area at that time of year would be too high. Should we go for a different location area? Because so we don't die, just because we're trying not to die.
That is crazy. I know Jenna told me repeatedly if I ever want to go to Australia, she's not going to go with me because spiders that are gigantic. She's deathly afraid of them.
They're only out every second Tuesday on the months through winter, so it's fine.
I'll just have to avoid whatever confusing date that was you just said.
It's fine. It's like everywhere. Like I'm sure there's animals that would kill me in America. Like, didn't you guys elect one? I think so. Yeah, like they're out about everywhere.
Oh gosh, that's wow. Oh, that's good. That's good. It hits really, really close to home. Kind of hurts a little bit here and here.
Yeah.
But wow. So when you're doing as a celebrant, you do like hundreds of weddings a year. How many of those weddings have photographers and videographers at them?
I would say almost all of our couples would have photographers, because like I said, a good portion of my work is like hashtag wedding, just your regular big wedding, arbors, seats, blah blah blah, reception. But maybe 60 to 70% of my work will be elopements. And when I do an elopement, I do it with my wife's business, the Elopement Collective, where we have photographers and videographers as part of our team. So we kind of package together. But across all of them, I would say about a quarter would have video, which so I find I find strange because I thought video would have been trending upward because it's 2020. Like we have Facebook and YouTube and Instagram. Like video is a thing. But then, as you're well aware, like video production, particularly post production, is it's hard work and it's a lot of effort. And because it's a lot of effort, it's a higher price tag. Rightly so, because it's hard work.
You would think it's a higher price tag, but here where I live in Indiana, in the Midwest of America, people will not pay as much for videographers generally as they pay for photographers.
Really?
So Jen and I, when we get hired to do photos, we're typically getting hired at $1,000 more than what I get hired at when we're doing video stuff.
Gosh.
And it's just like, I don't understand it from my perspective because it's so much more work and so much more stress. Like I spend the whole day I'm shooting video freaking out because is it going to sound good? Is it going to look good?
Yeah.
How many cameras am I rolling? How many cameras do I have to worry about being in focus? Because like when it comes time for the ceremony to start, I've got a camera I'm typically like running around with shooting stuff. I typically have a second shooter running around shooting stuff. I typically have a third camera in the back that's like a wide shot or a bail shot, but also I'm manning that camera a few times throughout the ceremony for different things that I need. And then I also have to worry about the audio coming out. And then so I've got to mic up the officiant or the celebrant if I were in Australia. I got to mic up the groom, possibly the bride, possibly, whoever else is up there giving speeches or whatever, if I have enough mics for that, because I can't rely on the audio coming from the sound system where I am or the DJ or whoever to be necessarily good audio. So it's just like there's a million things I'm worried about. And with photos, it's like, did I get one frame where it looks okay?
Did one
so
frame just
every time
fall from the master's table? You know what you've got to do for the video? I've got a solution for you. So, and look, this is a free tip. Every videographer watching, listening, take this away. This is just a freebie. You don't owe me any money for this. Get all the video, drop it into the GoPro app, auto, done. just boom, just like because the GoPro app, it's producing B grade material, and if you're getting paid a B grade price, and like B grade's a pass, like that's not bad,
I would love to one time just go into like Animoto and just be like, all right, do whatever with all my clips. Just see what it puts out and then just be like, oh yeah, this one had good audio. I'll leave the audio in on that one and just kind of see what rolls out from their crazy like thing they do. They edit to the beat of the music on Animoto,
Yeah. Actually, even better. This is free. You don't even have to download the GoPro app. Just suck it all into your iCloud photo library. Make sure it's all dated and geotagged correctly, and then just wait a couple of weeks for iCloud photo library to come and generate a memory. Just send them the memory.
Oh gosh. I use Google Photos and it does like the same thing where it generates like a video memory, and every single time it's like, we chose one of 3 different super cheesy songs. We stripped all of your audio out from every single one of your things. And then like every once in a while it's just like, and what the hell's going on? There's nobody in this shot. Somebody comes into this shot. And apparently Google was like, no, the shot is more pleasing without anybody in it. Like the few seconds before like the kids ran in or whatever. And it's just like so frustrating. It's like, oh, that you almost made a good one, Google.
Yeah. But hey, AI is going to ruin us all and robots are going to rule the world. So it's crazy.
Speaking of AI and stuff, I did have in the show notes that Dustin and I were going to talk about. So there's this, you've heard of Luminar, right? It's the
editing
thing that like swaps out skies. Yeah. So now there's this new thing coming out called Anthropics, which does retouching on like your photos and stuff. So instead of you having to go through and like fix skin or whatever when you're retouching, Anthropics just does it all for you.
Just
like
does
magic.
It, mate. It just, if there's anything I know about magic, is that it's easy and cheap.
Oh man, I put this in the show notes for me and Dustin to talk about at some point in time, and I immediately was like in my head, yes. I even added something that said like the robots are coming for us all, see above, and then like within 30 minutes of me putting that in, some guy wrote on on F stoppers, and he was just like, so artificial intelligence is the next major step, and all photographers need to watch out because of it, and specifically cites Luminar and Anthropics, and I was just like, damn it, this weekly podcast format.
It's crazy that anyone would think this is anything more than just a fun thing that a teenager would use on their phone. Or I know this is desktop software, but
Mm-hmm.
yeah, and I know that could sound like an old man. Like you and I have talked about before, how I'm always trying to extend myself to different technologies, whereas like living on an iPad or just trying to extend myself to different things.
I didn't take Josh Withers, the man who was like, I'm going to do all my celebrancy stuff from an iPad, as the grumpy old man who's like, get off my lawn, AI. I'm the one who edits photos.
Because art, it takes real discernment, like I'm sure, like, if you've been retouching a photo, like I was even doing this the other day. I took a photo of a family member, and she had a little bit of an outbreak on her face, and it was just like it was just a photo, like a fun photo of my daughter and her cousin.
Put the microphone back in your hand and get back in your corner. What are you talking about? You were taking a photo and retouching it.
It was on my iPhone, so don't freak out.
The computers are coming for our jobs, and now the celebrants are coming for our jobs. This is crazy.
And she had a breakout on her face, and I at first I just did the old Lightroom clone or heal tool or whatever it was, and I'm like, oh, it's too much. Like it's unbelievable. Like she would see that and be like, oh, you noticed my breakout. And like I'm sure you have the same thing with brides or just anyone at a wedding. Like you don't want to be like, here you are, beautiful. This is what you could be if you cared about your skin. You don't want to be that guy. You don't want to pass judgment down. Particularly, you don't want a bloody computer passing judgment down. But I removed one. There was just like, it was a certain pimple. Like I'll just remove that one. Like I reckon she would appreciate that being removed. And AI doesn't know that. AI doesn't care about you. Like it doesn't know that that's the bride's mum or whatever.
AI doesn't take you home at night when you've had too much to drink and hold your hair back while you throw up in the toilet and then tuck you into bed. AI doesn't give you a back massage when you're feeling all out of sorts,
So you're saying AI isn't
AI
Adam
doesn't
Sandler?
have that loving touch. Wait, what? Did you say Adam Sandler?
Yeah, AI is not Adam Sandler. It's a wedding singer reference.
Yes.
Oh
man. I loved Adam Sandler when I was a kid. I absolutely loved him. Happy Gilmore is the first movie I ever owned. Like went out and bought on my own, owned. It is sometimes depressing to see the kind of stuff he puts out now.
It is, yeah. Although you should listen to him on the podcast with Pete's, what's his name? You Made It Weird. You Made It Weird is the name of the podcast. And Adam Sandler was a guest recently. Really good.
His recent stand-up special was pretty good too.
Yeah, it was actually really good. Yeah.
Yeah, dude. When he had like a whole tribute at the end to his wife, and then one to Chris Farley, and it was good, man. Yeah. And then there's a whole thing where Rob Schneider came in as an astronaut, and they pretended to Space 69, and I didn't know if I was crying harder at Rob Schneider and him Space 69 or at the tribute to his wife. I don't know. It's just.
Can we go back?
They're both so beautiful.
Can we go back to
Space 69? Got it.
I want a Space 69 with not you.
How could you say that to me right here to my face?
Being recorded for the world to hear. That's why
You're lucky I can't fly to Australia right now and kick your ass.
Privately, I do. I just didn't want everyone to know.
I would fly to Australia and kick your ass, because I could get a permit for that. Trump and your guys' president, prime minister, whatever, they'd work it out. They'd be like, kick Josh Withers' ass? Yeah, go for it. But the flight to get there, I would lose out on our Apple Watch competition for working out. So it's not worth it right now. I got my pride to worry about.
I've been doing the aisles of a flight to America before, trying to keep my rings full for it. It doesn't work. Hey, look, we've got to go back to Portrait Pro 19 because I'm just looking at the screenshot of the things you can edit. Look at the face sculpt things you can change. Like, who wants a photo to be made of them and then for their mouth shape to change in the photo they get delivered? No one, or their neck. No one wants it. Even if you're just the least, I don't know how to describe it. If you're a person who hates your neck shape, hopefully you're not hoping a photo would make that better. Like if you've got a complex about your neck, I don't actually know what to do about a complex about your neck, but hopefully you're not hoping software would just be there to save your ass every time so the world sees a different version of you, right?
So people who might not have picked up where Josh was going with that, he's bringing us back to the AI thing and the software made by Anthropics, which I said earlier, but I never said Portrait Pro 19
Oh,
or
there it is.
whatever
Okay,
it is, which is what it's actually called. But Josh is bringing us back to that, and yeah, they do have this whole face sculpt thing where you can
that's
you can do
terrible.
eye widening, which
No
is the
one wants
thing
eye widening.
You say that, but I see it all the time on Instagram. In fact, there's a wedding planner near us who used like eye widening on her Instagram profile picture. So it's like just a tiny little picture up in the left hand side. And wait, I knew she used eye widening because her eyes looked ridiculously large in it. And I asked Jen, I was like, do you see this? And she's like, yeah. And I was like, why is she doing this? And she's like, I guess some people like it more, but it's like she looks like an anime cartoon. She doesn't look like a real human being. And there's like nothing in it that's like, this is a funny joke I did or something. It's just so weird to me. And then like after that, I just started seeing it pop up everywhere.
It's crazy.
Oh gosh,
I don't get it.
Do you ever have clients who like with the elopement collective who want stuff like that? Like when you're like vetting people out, you and Britt?
We literally will just tell them we don't do that. Like it can be an extra fee if you want that done, but we just don't want to do that. Like no one wants that in their life.
You're not like, here's our list of photographers, and here's the list of photographers who would do that for you. You might notice there's nobody on the second list.
It's no one wants that to happen. It's yuck.
Oh, all I can think right now is I want to get a picture of Josh and do eye widening on it.
Right.
Oh gosh, I'm gonna have to send me a headshot as soon as we're done with this. When this episode goes up tomorrow, whatever, you're just gonna be like, why do my eyes look like that? I'll plump up your lips too. Don't worry about it.
Please do that. The world needs to see me with plumper lips. And just if you could actually narrow my eyes, I just narrow it down a bit. Yeah.
So you said that most of your guys' weddings that you do, there's always a photographer there, but there's only like a videographer at 25% of them.
Yeah.
So I know you were talking to me a little bit off air, like just regular chats. And you said that you bring like a Sony camera to a lot of your weddings and you'll actually like shoot the ceremony. And
Video.
is that something that like you always with a gun, you'll shoot the ceremony with a gun? You just Yosemite
Shotgun
Sam
weddings
it
are
and
so
just boom,
rare
boom.
today.
But I was just curious, when you do that, I know you've posted a few online, but if you're doing like 200 weddings a year, are you doing that just for like elopements? Are you doing that for like all the weddings that you do, and is it something you always deliver to the clients or?
Yeah, if they don't have a videographer, and if they do want a video of the ceremony, then I record it. It's literally just camera on the tripod at the back of the ceremony. It's got an audio receiver kind of on the camera, so a Sennheiser audio receiver, and then I've got a Sennheiser wireless mic in my hand. So the camera literally gets independent audio straight to disc, if you like, or straight to film. So so afterwards, I drop the video file onto my desktop, top tail, upload to Vimeo, done. Like it's a non-technical process.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's people like it. It's just like it's a documentation of what happened in the ceremony. Like sometimes if I think that a ceremony might need a bit of editing, like something happened and I don't know. I don't know if something weird happened in the ceremony, I might kind of cut it somewhere just to kind of make it a little
You're
bit
like,
cleaner.
I flubbed up that joke real bad.
Yeah, literally, I've done that. I'll just edit that whole thing out. That was awkward.
So When you do that kind of stuff, do you ever charge your clients for that, or did they ever
Oh
ask
no.
for like more video from you or anything?
No, I'm very if I can tell you the secret to my success is I identify what I can do, and particularly what I can do well, and I just do that.
Mhm.
Um it's not terribly complicated. If there's something I can do well, I'll do it. If there's something I can't do well, I won't do it. And so the film that you might make for your clients is not the same as the film I'll make for my clients. For
Mhm.
mine, it is like camera, tripod, single shot, great audio, clean video, unless what's happened. I'm still trying to figure out the right way to do this. I've had a few times where someone's kind of like stood up in front of the camera and hasn't regained focus. I'm not smart enough to completely figure that out. Whether to go
Oh
manual focus
gosh.
on the arbor or something, I don't know. Um, but yeah, it's a very simple setup.
When I'm shooting video at like weddings, my bail shot, like the wide shot that's in the back, I never trust the autofocus because I've had
Yeah,
too many situations where it loses focus, and then it's like I don't have something to cut back out to if I need something to cut back out to in this ceremony. So I've taken to just either focusing. What I typically try to do is I have somebody stand where the bride and groom will stand before they get up there. Shit. I always say bride and groom. I should really just be saying couple now. I hate it. I
yeah,
hate it.
it's right.
I hate that
It's
it's so
built
ingrained
in.
in me.
Yeah,
Yeah. So I always try to have somebody stand where the couple's going to stand, and I focus on that. But then once they actually get up there, a lot of times they don't actually stand wherever I had the person standing at. Um, so I have to like rearrange stuff and do other stuff and re-rack my focus and everything like that. So it's always very frustrating.
yeah.
Josh, do you have to go, bud?
So I don't have to go right now, but I just got a message from my family saying they're going to be home in 10 minutes, 2 minutes ago. So
Okay,
we can just go until they get in the door if you want.
cool, cool. Um, I did want to ask you.
Yeah.
You said you do what you're good at. One of the things you're really good at is audio. I mean, you were literally teaching me how to use the program that Dustin and I used to record better right before we started recording. So, what do you recommend audio wise for people out there who are doing video?
Oh gosh, for people that are doing video,
You
I
were
know that
teaching
everyone.
me about that crazy mic that that guy had on his belt in that video you sent me.
Yeah, yeah. So, uh, actually, honestly, if I could leave one thing of everyone doing video, you should drop I guess it's $100 or $200. I don't know where you get it from and currency conversions, but drop the couple $100 on the Rode Wireless Go. That's RODE Wireless Go. Um, that baby, that's gonna save you. Like I might try and find that video for you. And you can put it in the show notes if you want. Um, I was on a windy as hell mountain. Like it was like a tornado. And this little Rode Wireless Go, it's the size of I don't know what's the size, larger than a poster stamp, just a little bit larger. And it's got this the little windsock that could. It's a little windsock that's just giving it its best. And and I put it on the groom. I put it on the outside of the groom's jacket. Um, because I figured that might be a fighting chance of it picking up some audio. And the bride standing across from him, and the audio for that video, like the audio that you'll hear, it's uncompressed, it's just as it came out of the microphone into the camera. And so the Rode Wireless Go is a wireless transmitter, and you can put a lapel mic on it, but honestly, the mic that's on it is fine. And I put the other end onto the Sony camera, plug it in, and boom, great audio. It sounds really good. But as far as I know, I feel like I see so many things videographers do to get audio, and they have lapel mics everywhere and that kind of thing. And obviously I'm a nerd, so I get this, but I just use a big plain old Sennheiser wireless mic, the Evolution series, the G4, and it's a handheld mic. I speak into it when the couples do my unveils. They speak into it, and that's what you see professionals using. Like if you look at seminars, like conferences, big ones, if you look at whoever's singing on a concert stage, they're usually holding sometimes a Shure mic, often a Sennheiser mic, and it just sounds really good because they're just really bloody good. And so I actually have a Sennheiser mic in my hand, and I've got about 4 or 5 Sennheiser receivers. So each speaker gets an independent feed of the mic. The camera gets one. I give one to a videographer, and it just sounds good. I don't know. I feel like lapel mics are just too airy. There's too much. They pick up too much, whereas a nice directional Sennheiser mic sounds beautiful.
My jaw dropped when you were talking about having different feeds for your speakers, and then you give something to the videographer, and that sounds like the dream. That sounds like the dream.
Well, I actually told a videographer, a friend of mine, it's not their job to do that, but imagine if you did. Like, imagine if you actually kind of like audio splained the officiant or the celebrant or the DJ, and you're like, cool, nice mic, here's one from me. And if you've got enough receivers, so like you literally plug, so that maybe the celebrant or the DJ or whoever it is, they've got their own speaker. Good on you. That's great. Personally, I use a Bose S1. It's it's an affordable PA system. You put it on a stand, it sounds great. And so you put receivers everywhere, and that way you actually get to control how good the audio is. The celebrant or the officiant still has to be smart enough to notice how to speak into a microphone well. So many don't. And they have to know to hold the mic for the couple. So there's so many variables. You'll see so many celebrants and officiants, they read from a book or something like that. And so that's an issue. But yeah, I don't know. That's the best we can do, I guess.
So it sounds like I'm hearing a little background noise. Do you want to tell people where they can? Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. Can we introduce Lou to the podcast?
Yes, absolutely.
Before I say goodbye. Lou, look at this. It's my friend Stephen. Can you say hi?
Hi, Luna. Oh my gosh, she's adorable.
Yeah, she's a keeper. But I can't hear you because she turns the mic off. She loves the button on the mic. But look, where they can find me, joshwithers.com.au is my website, and I'm Hello Josh Withers on Instagram and Facebook, and if you want to find my personal Instagram, Ahoy Josh Withers, because I think that's kind of cute. But yeah, that's me. I'm all over the interwebs.
I love it. And you do your own podcast as well.
Oh yeah, I've got a podcast.
Yeah. Do you want to talk about that?
The Rebels Guides are getting married. You can find links to all of that at therebels.guide. I highly recommend it. It's a good cast. I think it's a good one.
It's honestly one of my favorite podcasts. Like the way you break things down, the way you talk to people, and like your new thing that you've been doing where like you call people in, and I'm not just saying that because you called me and Jen in, though that was really fun. But like the whole like vibe to it's very, very good.
Thank you so much. You got a hi from Luna. That's worth $1 million. You actually have to write me a check now.
Oh gosh, can I just Apple Pay that to you, or
definitely, yeah, just Apple Pay me, please.
Look for that one. Thank you so much, Josh, and now Luna, and hey, have a great day. Thanks for coming on.
Thanks, mate.
Wedding Photo Hangover was edited this week by Steve Van Elk of Bespoke Tone. Go to Bespoke Tone for all of your photo, video, and audio editing needs.